Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install our saddle and on our saddle clamps. First thing I want to show you on models that have a two-piece stanchion and cradle is the correct alignment of the lower clamp. We'll just take these out of the way for the moment. Okay, so this is your separate lower cradle. You can see that this front is lower, the back is higher. Same thing with the cartridge. So this is higher here, this is lower. If you put this on backwards, what will happen is the clamp will hit here and hit here, or the bolt will hit and rub, and you'll have adjustment problems. So it's really important that you put this together with these facing. And it's pretty obvious once we show you this, you know, that that's wrong and this is right. But just make sure when you put yours together that you go that route. While we have this apart too, we recommend using a little bit of anti-seize paste. Just brush a little bit of anti-seize here and then put this back up when you assemble it, along with putting it on all the other metal-to-metal parts and on your bolts and your hardware. That helps keep water, debris, anything like that out that can cause squeaking and creaking later on down the line. Just makes a lot more solid assembly, and it's gonna make you happier with the post overall. Okay, so now with this all back together, and with all of the bolts and everything already prepped with anti-seize compound, we're going to go ahead and put the saddle on. One thing to note, use a little bit of fiber grip on your seat rails here where they clamp into the two sides of the clamps. Gives it a little better bite, especially on a titanium or a chromoly rail saddle. These are really hard, and so it's hard for the clamp to grip those. So this fiber grip has a little silica sand in it, and it actually grips those really nice. So just put a little layer here. Generally, if you get the clamp bolts loose enough, you can just drop this in place like so. I find that it's much easier to just put my fingers up here and hold those barrels in place to take up the kind of the slack or the looseness in the bolts as you run them up. Okay. You can also use, you've got a torque wrench with a ratchet on it. Sometimes it's a little easier to run them up this way than with a normal Allen key. So. Kind of alternate here. Okay. Now, as far as a saddle adjustment or saddle position, in the fore and aft, you can adjust to fit whatever fits you best. As far as angle here, generally speaking, you want to keep the saddle fairly level. Remember, on a suspension bike, as you set the sag, it will tend to change the seat angle and the seat will nose up slightly. So if you're setting it up on a full suspension bike, you may want to set it up with the nose slightly down when you have the bike sitting static. So when you sit on it and actually drop into your sag, your saddle ends up level. And then go ahead and alternate these back and forth until you get it into the position that you like. just as you get it about hand tight here, so it doesn't move around. I like to give it a little wiggle, kind of a tap, make sure everything seats in well. And then if you've got a titanium hardware set on your post, you're going to want to torque that to 8 Newton meters. If you have a steel or chromoly rather bolt set, that's going to torque to 10 Newton meters. Make sure you get that engaged all the way in so you don't round out your hardware. Okay, so you can go ride this, and after several rides, it's highly recommended to go ahead and re-torque it again. So get your torque wrench back out, torque those things either to the 8 or the 10 Newton meter setting for your post. That'll ensure that your clamp stays tight, functions properly. Please do remember to use a torque wrench every time you adjust your saddle. Torque is very important on these to keep them tight and to make sure that you don't have any noise or creaking, anything like that from happening. So you're all set.